I'm Ariana Grande.
Hi, I'm Cynthia Erivo.
And you're listening to the Broadway Podcast Network.
Visit bpn.fm to discover more.
There's a cat over here. There's a cat over there. And the wrong one died. And the wrong one died.
Welcome to The Wrong Cat Died, the podcast breakdown of the catastrophe. I'm your host, Mike Abrams, and today we have an incredibly special guest. Last September, a very great influencer named Teresa Jack posted a TikTok and Instagram reel about the infamous Brigham Young University-Idaho production of Cats in 2015 and posed a lot of questions. And it has been my mission to get answers from anybody who was involved in this production. And today is that day. She played Bombalurina and is here to answer all of our questions. So welcome, Katie Fairbourne, and thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
I have the amount of people that tagged me in this, and then I commented being like, anybody, literally anybody that wants to come answer. And I'm so glad that you said yes. So welcome to the show, and arguably one of the most requested production questions I've ever received.
I know. I'm honored to be the one to have been like, this dude asked me to be on a podcast. That's such a joke. And my husband going, you should do it.
Yeah. I have had a few obscure like productions that I found really funny, but this is the first one where I think like there's like a lot of social media about it, because not just like Teresa's post obviously really went viral, and there's a lot of she posted a lot of questions and there was a lot of comments, but there's also a lot of other lore from especially in the moment and some of the criticism that happened like live and when it was happening. So we'll get to all of this because I have a lot of questions. I wrote down a significant amount that I want to ask you. Before we start with that though, I always love hearing, like, I start every episode with what is your cat's like experience. So before this 2015 production, had you seen it? Were you familiar? Like, what was your cat's experience?
Yeah. So normal random kid in the middle of small town Idaho. My mom put me in dance classes when I was a baby. And so I was a dancer all growing up. My sister was the one who did musical theater. And she came home one day with this DVD of the 1988 video of Cats.
Yeah. Okay.
And I watched it with her. I was probably like 8 or 9 maybe. And I like hyperfixated really hard on this movie.
All right. So you're a fan. You were a fan.
I would watch it probably like 3 times a week. Fan.
Wow. That's the best though. So you are a dancer, you know, family's doing musical theater, and you find this show and a formative piece of art at the time. And you were a Cats fan.
I was a Cats fan.
So you knew it. So when you saw this posting at college that they're going to do this at this fairly religious university with its own honor code system that I'm sure we'll get into, was it I've got to audition right away? Like, was that the first thought, or was this like, no?
So I actually never saw like a flyer or anything for the audition. I was taking voice lessons at the time from my sister's voice teacher. She had gotten a job at the college, and I was like, you need students? I've got you. And so I was taking lessons with her, and she came in one day and she goes, hey, so you're going to come audition for Cats, right? What do you mean audition for Cats? Who's doing Cats? She was like, we are. Surprise! And then she was the musical director on the show. And she was like, you're going to come audition because we need dancers.
Yeah.
That's a fair point.
And if you're taking voice lessons and you're a dancer, like, you are
I know.
perfect for
I
the
like
show.
walked right into it.
Yeah.
So.
They were looking for you in particular.
Me specifically.
Yeah. Okay, so I don't know if you'll be able to answer these questions, but I do want to ask a little bit about this musical theater, like not just this production, but just the program in general. Mm-hmm. You didn't do many like shows there. I don't think you didn't say you didn't do 4 years worth of shows. It wasn't like you're doing every single time they're doing one. Do you remember any shows that were happening that you either went to or that you experienced from this particular program before or even after Cats?
I know I didn't go to any before. I think after getting like, I don't want to say my foot in the door in the theater department because I was not a theater major at all. I think after that, I had friends who were in the productions, so I would go to support them. But I don't. Again, the only one I can think of is Bohem, the opera. So that's the only one that I can think of that I went to and had some semblance of knowledge of what was going on, and then knew like 4 people in the cast. And after that, I was like, cool, I don't ever have to be here again.
Yeah. Okay. What's the vibe of this musical theater program? Like, is it, because like I went to a Jesuit high school, and like, there was some level of the religious undertones there that come with that. Mm-hmm. And, there's the joke of leaving space for the Holy Spirit when you dance and things like that. Like those things are there. Mm-hmm. And this is I think a slightly more extreme version of that, at least at a university level, you hear. So is it, like, I'm so curious by how they decided Cats to begin with.
I wish I knew. It's like one of those things that like they plan out like years in advance what shows will be when. The college itself does 3 semesters per year. So this was during our spring semester, so which is like April to June kind of thing.
A great time to be in those costumes.
A great time to be in those costumes, and the AC to break.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So we'll get there.
We'll get to that.
But yeah, it's very much like pre-planned for like months and years. Like one of my friends that was on the costumes was like, no, yeah, we had known for like 2 or 3 semesters that this show was coming up.
Okay. I'm fascinated by that decision-making process again in general, because there's like, if there is this level of this honor code and there's like, some restrictions on what you're supposed to be wearing at the university and things, you're choosing a unitard-based, sexually dance-charged show is quite the decision.
Yeah. And that when I first heard Cats was going to be at this university, I was very concerned because, again, skin-tight leotards, that's what I know. Ropes for tails, that's what I know. And I was just so curious as to what was going to happen. I probably shouldn't have been curious.
Yeah. Okay. So take me to the rehearsal room.
So
what do you remember? Yeah. What do you remember about, like, let's start with the storytelling, because it is it can be, at least. There's obviously a kid's version of this. I'm assuming that one is not told in the same way, but it's a fairly sexual, and there's some like religious undertones within it in itself of a story. I'm assuming that there's still like you're doing Cats. Like, how much of that do they tell you, and do they share about what you're supposed to be portraying?
So I don't remember how many members of our cast had previously known anything about Cats. I know it was like me and maybe like one other person that I can think of off the top of my head. But I remember going to our first few rehearsals, and we did music first, obviously.
Yep. Okay.
As you do in a song opera heavy thing that Andrew Lloyd Webber has written you. But I remember sitting there being like, how are we going to get through this one particular scene that, as a 10-year-old watching a Cats musical, made me go, Mom, what are they doing?
Yeah.
Right? So I remember sitting there going, this is going to be weird. Oh, no. And I think what happened was that we took that whole section and we said, we're turning it into a ballet solo. So that's how we got around that.
I mean, so there's a lot of sections, though. Like, if you think about it from the beginning, the beginning's fairly fine. Mm-hmm. And then Jenny A. Dots is fine. Bus for Jones is fine. But all Victoria's parts, pretty much all of Victoria,
yes,
is going to be a challenge. Mm-hmm. The ball is a huge challenge, depending on how you portray it. And then you've got all of your song as Bombalurina, as McCavity, is a massive challenge.
Correct.
And Tugger is a massive challenge.
Tugger was rough.
So did they fully go in and just be like, we're just going to change? Like, is Tugger not a rock star hip thrusting, or is Tugger
still went with rock star?
Toned down. Rock
Definitely
star.
Toned down. I remember toning a lot of things down. With like all of Victoria's dances, we went like strict classical ballet. There was like no room for like any other interpretation.
Okay.
Trying to think what else. How
did
we
they
get around?
acknowledge this in the room though? Like, are you going through this being like, hey, if you know this show like you do, we're gonna have to change Tugger.
Yeah, I don't know if we like ever had a full conversation as like a cast with our director being like, hey, what are we going to do about the fact that Tugger's over here, just having a good time, right? Like,
yeah.
I don't think we ever had that conversation as a cast of like, this is what we're going to do to avoid making this overly sexual at our very religious school. I don't think we ever had that conversation.
So that is so interesting because like one of the things that I was reading when I was doing research was like, did the administrators come through and be like, hey, here's how you have to like I just go back to at my Jesuit schools, like the Jesuits every once in a while would come in and be like, are you all actually doing that? Like, are you doing this? Because some of our sports stuff, they're like, hey, I played hockey. They're like, you probably shouldn't fight. And the other team are like, well, that's kind of part of our game. And so there is that layer of involvement but not involvement.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like fascinated by this because you're doing something that the whole point is to not be you're portraying, like you're performing, but at the same time there is this part where it's like it's kind of not in line with the school's mission or a lot of the things that they care about.
Yeah
So
and
they just ignored it. It's just like, we're just not, if you don't know cats, we're just not gonna say it.
Yeah, I think if you don't know cats, then we're just not going to tell you about like what we had to change.
Yeah,
I think
but this is not like you're not like doing this in like 1999. Like the internet's there. Like there's the Wikipedia page to go find all the headcanon. Like
that's true.
This is all out there at this point. So you're all just not. It's just like it is what it is. You're just doing the show.
And I mean, we were in again Southeast-Idaho, podunk little farming communities. Like no one's actually going to go Google what the cat's ball really is supposed to look like and what's supposed to happen.
I guess, I mean, I think it's so hard for me to just fathom that because like YouTube, I guess actually in 2015, YouTube was
10 years old.
10 years old. Like that, the entire movie's on YouTube.
Yeah.
Like in pieces. So it's like, it's kind of hard to avoid it unless you're just like actively avoiding it.
And honestly, I think that's what a lot of people do. I mean, not on purpose, but I think they don't want to go looking for it if they know that it could be an answer they don't want to find.
Yeah. Okay. So let's go through a couple of the ones that you would have to change. And if you remember what they told you, did Tugger's a rock star, but just wholesome rock star?
A little more wholesome, like Disney Channel Camp Rock rock star.
Camp Rock. Okay. Victoria is just doing ballet.
Yes.
Is she getting her lifts still, or is that?
I don't think we did lifts.
Okay. Because the lift is supposed to signify losing virginity.
Yeah. I don't think we did the lifts.
Okay. And then in the ball, did you like the ball? There's a section where you're supposed to all roll around on top of each other.
Yeah. I think we changed that. We did a lot more like, contemporary modern movement in our dancing. Like I know me and one of my castmates who also does ballroom, we did like a little like Viennese waltz in the middle of all of that. So we just choreographed over it.
Yeah. And then there's the McCavity song. So like how bad was McCavity in this production?
I mean, what do you mean by bad?
Well, so there's a lot, like he's broken every human law.
Mm-hmm.
So he's done a lot of wrong things. And then the song that you all sing is hypersexual about McCavity. Like the whole thing is like, he's terrible, but also,
yeah,
he's McCavity.
Yeah. I don't remember how we quote unquote got around that.
Just did it and just pretended that he's not
saying it. I think a lot of like the sexuality from these songs also come from the movement and the choreography. So I know, again, at our religious school, our choreography was not that at all. It was very much like, oh no, he's a sneaky dude kind of thing.
Yeah. He's just mean to his friends.
He's just mean to his friends.
Yeah. And then is there any acknowledgement of like Julian Lynn choreography is legendary. Is there still some of that, like we want to have some of that like cats stuff, but just removing some of those, extreme motions that could be deemed inappropriate?
I don't remember, actually. I think our choreographer like had watched the choreography. But I think the director had said, we're doing like our own thing. We're not going with anyone else's stuff. We're not doing any other movement that's someone else's. Because I don't remember ever doing any of the choreography.
Interesting. Okay. Did you learn it growing up, like as a dancer?
Did I
Pieces
learn it
of it
growing
at
up?
least?
Yeah. I mean, I would watch films that had dancing in it on repeat. And then like 3 days later would be doing the choreography in my living room when my parents were down at the store and I was the only one home.
Okay, so you could do the full ball.
Maybe not the full ball, but I could like 80%.
You learned a lot of it. Okay. We're going to take a quick break and then we'll be back for more of The Wrong Cat Died. We've talked for way too long to not talk about the one thing that really made this go viral. And so we've got to talk about the costumes.
The costumes.
And so I want to know, let's start with your memory and reaction of it, because you obviously know you're not doing the unitards at that school, but it seems like this was even beyond. Like I've seen some regional houses and some community theaters that will put some pants on, or, like some ways to still honor a little bit of like, here's cats in unitards, but still make it a little bit more, I guess, less just everybody in skin tight unitards. But these seemed like decisions were made for these. Decisions
were made. And I don't know if they were great decisions, but they were made. The only thing I remember was when they first like told us what they were doing for the costumes, looking at my friend. So out of a cast of like 26, like 6 of us were from the dance department. And I remember looking at one of my dance friends and going, they want us to move in that?
Yeah.
They want us to do like a high kick wearing that? Okay, sure. But I remember going in for like my wig fitting. Like they had to do like the whole head wrap and saran wrap kind of thing. And like glancing in and just seeing just like the big fur wall, for lack of a better term. It was just like fur. And I was like, that's going to be so difficult. Because not only is it going to be so restrictive that I feel like I'm not going to be able to move, those are so thick. They were made of like carpet.
Yeah. And you're doing this, you said April, May, June. Like you're doing this in peak spring.
Our opening night was like the first week of June.
Yeah. So you're doing it in summer, essentially.
Yeah.
Like it is hot.
Yeah.
And you're putting on a weighted vest carpet to dance for 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
Okay. I think, if you're listening to this, I hope you've seen the pictures. If not, I'm going to try to post some with this, but I don't think I could even describe it super well. It's like, there's not a single unitard. It is like a full, thick, heavy cat suit on top of everybody.
So they had us in these like spandex onesies, had a zipper up the back. And then we had our mic belt on top of that. And then the fur over the top of that. So it was not only a big fur thing, but it was layered with unbreathable lycra.
I just interviewed the Revival Old Deuteronomy, who wears, basically what you all were wearing.
Mm-hmm.
That's the cat. So that's the way I can describe it. It looks like Old Deuteronomy, but for every cat.
Yeah.
And he told me that he had to put in like ice packs, and like they put ice packs into it so he could even do his thing. And he's not doing the dancing through a lot of the stuff because that's not the character's arc. And you're doing, again, all of the dancing in this stuff. But I'm curious, like, knowing the university and knowing like the religious piece of this and in the honor code, like you kind of knew you weren't going to do spandex, but did they come in and like this feels like almost a full direction the other way, And to the point where I'm like wondering if like, did they have to come in and be like, approve this of like, this is okay for like these costumes are now okay for you all for us to do this because we want to keep it more cat-like, like furry cat-like than sexual cat-like.
Yeah. We went from sexual cat-like to like stuffed animal cat-like is the way that I like to think of it.
Yeah.
I don't know who had the say, who had the power, who said, yes, this costume, no, this costume. But whoever it was, I want to have a conversation with them.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, we both read a lot of the comments from the post, and we read someone that said it wasn't done for that reason. Like they worked on the costumes and it wasn't just for religious reasons, but I find that hard to believe. I feel like that's like what you tell the costume department, where it's like, hey, we're going to have you do these things. And I mean, to be honest, some of them didn't look great. Like it's not the best. Like there's I think there's an interpretation. Like I was saying, I've seen community theaters that will add pants and add other parts to make it so it feels a little bit more or less cats-like, but more still like human-like. Mm-hmm. And these were very much a lot. And like even the wigs, like I saw some where it's like it's wrapping around their chin.
Yeah. So we had a split. There were some of us who had like wigs on. Like I had a wig, Tugger had a wig, and I think one other person had a wig. I know Jenny had a wig. But everyone had helmets, basically. Yeah, they were like hoods.
Yeah.
So we had our big fur, and then they also had a hood on top that would like button.
Yeah. How many performances did you do of this show? Was it like a weekend or was it like a couple?
I think it was a full week.
A full week, okay.
Yeah. We did, I think it was like a Tuesday night was our opening.
Okay,
maybe?
So you did it's more than just like Friday to Sunday. Like it's a week worth of.
Yeah. Well, it was
shows.
like the week we did a matinee on Saturday, no show Sunday, and then I think we did a Monday, Tuesday.
Okay. What's the audience reaction to this? Like, was it as viral as it is now back then? Like, did people come and like no one? It's just a show they're putting on.
It's just a show they're putting on. It's like your college roommates are here to support your weird thing, and like I remember my family came. My brother told me afterwards, like, you know, with that nose on, sitting down stage center with the light coming at you like this, you look like you're about to murder someone. And I was like, this cat's got claws, I guess. Like,
yeah. Do they know cats though? Like even your family, did they know the story?
My family does, because I had that show on repeat for at least a year.
So are they looking at this going like, huh, these were some decisions?
Yeah. I think my family might have been the only one going, this was a decision.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So there was no internet lore happening at the time. Like this is just a week of shows and it's a thing
we're going to put on a production and this is what it is.
And then it doesn't blow up till years later.
Yeah.
When it, you know, Cats has come back into the limelight a lot.
Yeah.
In 2015, it was just starting to come back with the revival in the US. But like now it's kind of everywhere and all over the place. And there's a lot of productions of Jokel Ball. And so this went super viral. And I think that so many people have questions because of it. But I love kind of hearing that. It's just like, no, this is just a show. This is just our version.
Just the way we did it.
Did you, in your kind of like revived storytelling of it, what was your Bombalurina story? Like, do you remember what you, like, because her answer is not what you were allowed to perform.
Yeah. So I know because I wasn't like from the musical theater department, I was a dancer on loan pretty much. So I didn't actually sing Bomb's songs. I think I did a couple of her lines, but like McCavity, I was not the one singing it.
You're just dancing.
I was just one of the dancers. So I don't remember like how we did like backstory stuff of like how our cats came to know each other or whatever. I know that one of the other cats and I made this whole backstory that I was her older sister and that I was a rodeo queen cat because of the way that my wig was sat. So like,
okay. Was it Demeter though? Because that one that could have been for sure thought of. Like there's a world where Demeter and Bombalurina are brother sister or sister.
I don't think it was. I don't remember what cat she played. Oh no.
I mean, it's okay. They were all very different.
They were
So
all
it's
very
not like
different.
I don't think I could even look at some of them. And like one of the questions I was curious about is that in the photos I've seen, like some of them I can't even figure out who it's supposed to be, which is also kind of challenging.
Yeah.
But I'm also like, because the body types are all different, like Cats actually has in its core, like this character is supposed to be much taller and this character is supposed to be short and tiny and tumbles. And they've kind of gotten a little bit away from that in more recent productions where it's like, we're going to just have a performer be the performer.
Right.
But with those costumes on, like it was very different.
Yeah.
It didn't really, did it change the story at all based on the costumes, or was so much of this just like, we're doing our own thing because we have to, and we're just making it up kind of our own way?
I think it was more the latter. Like, I think we didn't really have a choice but to reinvent it.
Yeah.
There was no way that we could really go with any of like the previous headcanon lore stuff. Just because the way that we had to do it for the university that we were at, for the honor code that we all said that we would follow, for just like, I mean, we would do prayer before every rehearsal. Like, it was very much like, we can't in any way, shape, or form have this not be our own thing.
Yeah. How did you approach, I mean, there is again a very sacrificial ending to the show. Like there's so much religious undertone in the show to begin with. It's old Deuteronomy. Like there's a lot that you can pull from it that could be really derived from religious text. How did you handle Grisabella? Like, is she walking to another room instead of like being reborn? Like that feels like that also can be a little challenging on the religious side.
It's definitely challenging on the religious side. I don't think we did anything different with Grizz. I think we still did the idea of her like having this cycle of reincarnation kind of thing. Even if that's not like what we believe in at this university kind of thing.
Interesting. Okay. So they're fine with that part.
Fine with that. You just can't
that part's
show
okay.
your body.
Yeah, you just can't be in a unitard. But we can murder one and have a reincarnation. That's totally fine.
That's cool.
Okay. When it went viral, did you chat with people that did the cast, or did you like talk to other people being like, oh my God, this thing again?
I wish I did. Honestly, I wish I had like opened up a group chat and found everyone on Facebook and been like, yo, you guys see this? Like, I wish I would have. I should still, honestly, and just let them know how much I love them still, how much I sometimes think of our time as trans felines.
Are you aware of any recordings or any version? Like, cause we're kind of we're like at the edge of smartphone. Like we're not at the point where someone's going to be having a documentation of it, but like, doesn't the theater department archive a lot of these?
I would assume so, but I don't know where they would keep them.
Yeah.
I went on a deep dive
They're deleting this one
through the website, like probably a week ago now. And I was just like trying my very hardest to see if I could find anything.
All I could find were some photos.
Yeah.
Just a few
the photo
photos.
Gallery that's like,
that's it.
Maybe 80 pictures.
Yeah. But there's nothing else. Like that's literally all I can find. And even with that, it's like everything else is kind of assumed. Like there's not like the school definitely said this. It was more of like, we kind of assume that they made this costume choice because the school has this honor code.
Yeah. And
so there's like, again, so much lore behind it with nobody really willing to answer the questions, or I mean, not willing. I think there's probably Teresa and me and like 3 other people that are actually willing to search for this. It's very niche Cats fandom at its finest. But I'm glad that we're able to kind of get some of those answers. So what haven't I asked you about the production that you were like, we got to get out there still?
Man, I don't know. Maybe the AC breaking.
Yeah. You're in the heaviest costumes in the world.
The heaviest costumes in the world. I remember like opening night, because it broke like 5 minutes into the show.
Oh, so no chance to fix it.
No
like, you're
chance
just
of
doing
fixing it.
Yeah.
On a like Tuesday or a Thursday, one of those 2 days, and no one can come fix it until the weekend when no one's in the building.
Yeah.
But everyone's in the building because we're in the middle of a show. But I remember like in the middle, during intermission, we went out into our green room and they had got like ice blocks and like the little fans and like
Just put it in front and
put
blow
them
it
in
at
front.
you. Yeah.
Everyone like stripped down half of their fur and was just like sitting in sweaty lycra in front of a fan.
I mean, that show's hard enough to do with if you don't add any other elements.
Yeah.
Like, even if you have slightly different choreography or whatever, like it's such a demanding show. And I think you did the whole thing. Like, you didn't make major cuts, right? Like, it was still cats.
We didn't do like peaks and pox. We didn't do.
Yeah, probably not the
like,
Growl Tiger or Griddle
We
Bone.
didn't do
but,
Growl Tiger. We didn't do Griddle Bone.
But even if that's still 2 hours, 20 minutes, like worth of dancing and singing. Even if you don't do that.
I mean,
okay.
We did pre-record our vocals, like the big numbers. We pre-recorded all of that so that when we were dancing, it didn't sound like 25 people were struggling in the middle of a big old ball.
Yeah. Was the junkyard fairly 1998 junkyard, or was it Idaho junkyard?
I see, out of everything in my Cats production, I remember the scenery the best, I feel like, because I thought they did a great job with like making it have the levels that I felt like it needed personally. And then like there was the boot drop still. So
okay.
Like I liked my junkyard was a good junkyard, I think.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I think that's what's kind of fun about Cats too, is that there's a lot of ways. Like the production I saw most recently did it in more of a amusement park theme, and there's been a couple like that. There was a cowboy one in Fort Worth last year. Because as long as you get the vibe and you have the moon and you have the tire or some version of a tire type of way, you're kind of good. So I kind of like that you can do a localized version of it for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. I want to make sure I don't have any. I think I've asked you all the questions like decision, costume, choreography. I'm like, I will do my best to post as many pictures with this episode as possible.
I mean, I can email you some that I saved because I went through all these pictures the other day and was like crying my eyes out, was laughing.
Are these
so
the
hard.
ones you found online or extra ones that you had?
No, they were ones I found online, but like I do have extra ones on hand, so I can send you some.
I was going to say, anything that you have that you can share that's either not out there or, again, it's so hard to find anyways.
Yeah,
like
we have like a whole Facebook album because, this was peak Facebook time.
Oh, peak Facebook, yeah.
So we've got a whole Facebook album that like everyone is a collaborator on. So I'm sure we'll find some good ones.
We'll find some fun ones to share to kind of just show the experience. I wish there was video. I just want, like, I'm just so fascinated by like, what did Tugger do? Like, how did you get away with Tugger? Like, so much of that end of that song is just like straight hip thrust with the female cats like running to his legs.
And I know we did do like the fan pit mosh thing, but I don't remember how we got away from like, I don't even know if we did get away from it.
Yeah.
Because like at that point, I don't know if you can.
Yeah. I mean, well, that is the hard part, is that like, it is a very loose plot to begin with. So there is levels for interpretation that you can really make some adjustments. But at its core, so much of this is rooted in the sexuality of the cats, and like a lot of the backstories are very sexual, and a lot of the motions are very sexual, and it's supposed to be like they are very clear in the choreography that that's what it's supposed to represent. And so to have a version that's very clearly like, I go back to the kids version where it's like they're not going to do some of those things for the kids version because they shouldn't, but they put you also in these massive costumes.
Yeah.
So you have to work around that to begin with.
Yeah. I mean, what a way to work around it, I guess.
I'm sure it was an experience, and I'm sure I have a million more questions, and hopefully this is maybe just the first of now people willing to come on and answer more from the costume or director or anybody else we know that is willing to share more about the decision-making process.
For sure.
Let's do some Cats rapid fire here to close us out.
Cool.
So if you could go on any night to play any cat just for one night, which character would you want to perform as?
Probably Jenny.
Jenny. Okay. Do that tap number.
Do the tap number.
Favorite and least favorite cats from a personality standpoint? Like, who's from that 1998 movie you're like, that's my BFF and this is the one I don't want to talk to?
Honestly, I am a Demeter stan. I would spend all day with Demeter if I could. I think someone I do not want to hang out with is Skimble. we have personalities that do not match.
Okay. Favorite song from the show?
I know it's a cliche, but it's Memory.
Memory. All right. Which cat do you think would be best suited to go to BYU Idaho?
That is a question. I'm gonna go.
I thought about this a lot too.
I can
so don't
tell.
worry.
I'm gonna go with Mistopheles.
Interesting. I was not
It
thinking
might
that
be
route.
because he's in a suit.
Okay, so you went with the suit. I was thinking Mistopheles has a lot of flamboyance, which I'm not sure is going to be
That's fair.
fully accepted.
Didn't think about that one.
I went with Skimbleshanks. He's
Oh.
already got a nice vest on. He's
That's
very
fair.
put together. He's very orderly on time. He's going to follow the rules.
Yeah, that's fair. Well,
And
he
so I
is
feel
the
like
rules.
He is the rules. So I feel like he's ready for the honor
Yeah,
code.
that's fair. That's fair. I'm gonna switch it to Skimble.
The other option I think is Busford Jones. I think he's just
absolutely.
posh, and he's also in a suit. And yeah, okay. This show is about how I don't think Grisbel's the right Jokel choice. You all still decided to sacrifice a cat. So, Katie, who's your Jokel choice and why?
Mistopheles, because he's the only one who deserves a reincarnation. Because when McCavity kidnaps old Dude, the only person who can get him back is Mistopheles.
Yeah, he is the hero in the story.
He is the hero.
Yeah, okay. I love it. I'm sure this has sparked more questions than it's answered, which is great. And I love that we were able to get some of this history on record. So thank you for coming on and being willing to share your experience in this piece of Cat's lore.
Yeah, of course. If anyone else from this cast reaches out to you, please let me know because I want to. We'll share stories so that we don't get doubles.
If you start a group chat, please just put me in it. Like I'm ready because I'll happily answer the questions of like what they didn't tell you.
Well,
like I know all
we'll
the
do that,
lore.
and then you can post them all on your story. There you go. We're helping your social media page.
We're gonna answer this question, and I already messaged Teresa being like, "Hey, I got some answers." So we're gonna follow up for her because she was the one that posed this. She's the one that posed the question and originally found it. So kudos to her for uncovering you all.
Proud of you,
10
Teresa.
years later. Yeah. So
10 years later. Thank you.
It's
for
basically
bringing up
10
the
years
trauma.
later. Well, it was pretty buried. Like this was not the school, whether intentional or not,
it buried
did a fairly
itself.
good job of not having this be part of the lore as much as it should be.
For sure.
Well, again, thank you for coming on, and thanks everyone else for listening to this episode of The Wrong Cat Died, a podcast breakdown of the cast. Ask you to follow and subscribe to Apple Podcast, Spotify, or any rest of the podcast. Follow us on social media, The Wrong Cat Died, or check our website, thewrongcatdied.com.